Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you a straight upgrade of your favorite video game that I myself found just recently. Identity V is a ripoff of Dead by Daylight for mobile phone devices. And the interesting thing about it, like I said earlier, is that it does almost everything better than Dead by Daylight. First, let's look at things that Dead by Daylight actually does better than Identity V. The list is pretty short, so don't blink. Survivor matchmaking. Fighting a match as a survivor can be a real problem, especially once you reach a high rank. This game's community is pretty small, and if you're playing on a computer, it makes things even worse. Hunters, on the other hand, don't have such problems, unless you're a high-rank hunter playing on PC. Next problem is ping. Identity V currently has only two servers, one located in Asia and another in US. So, in case you're playing from anywhere else, get ready to unresponsive controls, weird hit detection and overall unfairness of the game. Even so, it's still better than Dead by Daylight. I actually believe that both these problems could have been solved easily if more people would play the game, because starting server in Europe would lead to community split, and that will make matchmaking even more unbearable. Weekly grind limit. For whatever reason, publisher wants to prevent people from playing their game too much. That's why there's a limit for blood points analog, which resets every Monday at midnight server time. And finally, a few words about an elephant in the room: the graphics. Since the game was originally made for mobile phones, meshes here are poor on polygons and textures have a low resolution. No big deal in my opinion. And that's everything that Dead by Daylight does better than Identity V. Like I said, the list is pretty short. There are some other things like different mechanics, sound design and music, but they are too subjective to discuss, as some people like mechanics or music in one game and some prefer the same things in the other. Now, let's look at the facts that back up this video's title. Free to play. The game is free for both mobile phones and PC. Just download it from official page, install and log in using Google Mail, Facebook or client on your phone. All the characters can be bought for in-game currency. That's right, no so-called licensed characters. And most of the cosmetics are available for in-game currency as well, not all of them though. But this game is still less starving for your money than Dead by Daylight. I'm really not sure if that's what I should call it, but I guess technical part would fit. Identity V isn't perfect in this aspect. The game crashes sometimes, but on my memory that happened quite rarely, and it didn't have any other technical problems, to be honest. Dead by Daylight, on the other hand, well, I wasn't playing this game for quite a while, so maybe behavior fixed everything by now. The last time I tried to play it, according to Steam, the 3rd of April, it looked something like this. First, the title screen said that my Steam client is offline, which is obviously not true, how else could I launch the game? After restarting Steam, title screen showed some other error. I don't remember exactly what it was, but something about synchronization, I believe. So I restarted Steam again and finally made it to the main menu. Match was found pretty quick, I played as a killer, and now I'm staring at the loading screen for whole 5 minutes. Of course the loading never ended, and this is where I drew the line. Seriously guys, game's been out for more than 3 years now and it's pretty popular. You would think that publisher would have fixed such issues by now, but in reality, much less popular mobile phone game has way less technical problems. Ranking system. The last time I played Dead by Daylight, there were no rewards for having high rank at the end of a season. You just lose some of your rank and that's it. Not to mention that seasons were pretty short, only 1 month. And I also think that emblem system, which decides whether you won or lost, sucks. But that's subjective. Identity V's ranking system is more like old one in Dead by Daylight. It's simply based on the number of survivors that died during the game. Can't say it's perfect since it forces hunters to face camp, but at least there are no situations in which both sides win. More than 2 survivors die, hunter wins, less than 2 survivors die, survivors win, and if exactly 2 survivors die, it's a draw. Ranked games aren't always available. Players have access to it only during specific time, so mostly people just play casual games that don't even affect rank. A few hours after a ranked session, if player had at least 3 ranked games, he gets a sphere, which is basically a loot box that contains random visual customization item. The quality of the sphere is based on player's current rank. And on top of that, at the end of a season, player gets currency used to purchase skins. The amount of currency based on player's rank at the end of a season. The higher your rank is, the more shards you get. Progression. Once again, let's compare them side by side. The way it looks in Dead by Daylight. You grind a ton of blood points, spend them in Blood Web, which gives you random perks, hoping that you'll get the ones you want. Since you can equip only 4 of them, most of the time you only need 4 to have a perfect build. After acquiring the needed perks, you have to level them up to rank 3. You had to do it for every single character in a game where every new character brings 3 new perks that you most likely not gonna need. So calculate your chances of obtaining and leveling up the perks you want. Got them? Okay, good luck getting them for the other characters. Also, you can reset your progress entirely for a cosmetic item you will never equip, but that's optional, so no big deal. The way it looks in Identity 5. You get experience for playing the game, reach level 120 for both sides, and that's it. You can grab any perk you want from so-called Blood Web. You can switch them freely, make different builds, and you have pretty much enough slots to make different builds for, well, basically every character. No need to grind forever, no need to pay real money for anything. You got level 120 for Survivor's side? Good, all your survivors got it as well. And same goes for Hunters. Besides, there are no add-ons or items that players can equip outside of the game session. There are only perks, and they obviously don't disappear after the game. Now, the last and the most interesting part, variety. Let's begin with something simple, map interactions. Overall, both games have a good variety of different maps. Big open field maps, maps with multiple vertical levels, confusing maps inside the buildings. But how many interactive objects those maps have? Let's see. In Identity 5 on Moonlight River Park, survivors can take merry-go-round. It doesn't really help in chases, but still nice that it's there. Or maybe not. I don't know. Both sides on the same map can take roller coasters and park slides. Those two are actually important. Every sleeping town has a train which both sides can ride. Both survivors and hunter can get hit by it. In that case, survivor will go down instantly and hunter will be stunned. Golden Cave, the map with multiple vertical levels, has ladders, elevator and a minecart. And I'm pretty sure that it's not everything, but no big deal, since that's already more than Dead by Daylight has. Speaking of which, what does Dead by Daylight have? Unbreakable walls on one specific map? Well, guess what? Identity 5 has that as well. Survivors. This one is easy to explain. It's not a secret for anyone that the only difference between survivors and Dead by Daylight is their teachable perks. And once you get them in the Blood Web, other survivors can have them as well, so survivors here are pretty much just reskins of each other. Now, in Identity 5, survivors have different basic stats. Some of them decode faster, the others are better at throwing down pallets and vaulting windows, and most of them also have some kind of exclusive only to them power. One can stun Hunter, the other one can decode 2 ciphers at the same time, and somebody has passive borrowed time. That's already way more variety than Dead by Daylight has, so no need to dig deeper into it. Hunters. Now that's a tricky one, since there are many followers of the religion called They Are All Different. But the truth is, the gameplay for the most killers in Dead by Daylight, with a few exceptions, works exactly the same way. You just chase survivors on foot, M1 them 2 times and place them on a hook. To think of it, Dead by Daylight killers deserve a separate video, so let's not focus much on them. For now. Now, what Identity 5 has? This young lady can create her mirror image that mimics her actions, ignores collision and can switch position with her. This young man creates a photograph world that captures the game current status and applies half of the damage dealt to survivors' photo images to the real survivors once the photo world collapses. This guy can create physical obstacles anywhere on the map, a robot with the time bombs that deal half the damage, a mad cat lady who throws cats at people, and the list goes on. For those who like them simple, the game has Jack, who's basically M1 Hunter but with range attack. There are also Hillbilly and Deathslinger ripoffs. The last one is also one of the oldest hunters in the game, so actually Deathslinger is his ripoff. Overall, hunters are very different, and I'm confident you'll find something that fits your taste. So basically, if we put aside the fact that this game has smaller community and only 2 servers worldwide, well, it's obvious that this game is better than Dead by Daylight. I really hope that this game's community will increase over time because this game deserves more attention. Especially since most of this game's problems could have been solved easily, just if more people would play it. If you found this video somewhere at the bottom of YouTube, I hope that I convinced you to at least give this game a chance. It's really worth it. Thanks for watching. So I thought, this time Behavior has to come up with something interesting. Like really, this is Pyramid Head over here. They have to make some incredibly interesting power for him to compensate his slow movement speed because, well, he moves so slow in Silent Hill games, doesn't he?